Julian John, both these players 5-0, and they're going to be given the green light here. These young kids, what are they, tired?
Yeah, I know. Look at this.
I wasn't tired when I was young playing Magic. Wake up over there. These are the best days of your life. Take a look at these opening hands here. See what they are working with.
Hope that's not true.
Stop. But should they be at home playing Magic on a broken laptop?
I mean, I don't know if they're ready to live how I live.
Few people are.
They might be just too ruined by technology at this point.
That's true. That's true. Fanatical Firebrand's going to come across here for Julian John. It'll be an opt here for Collins on John's end step.
Because you know what? I spent my childhood largely pre-internet, and you know what? I still had a lot of fun.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So it speaks to your expectations kind of mirroring what's available rather than being anchored in absolute terms. And I don't know. Don't need it.
Thought Eraser here from Julian John. Thought Eraser targeting Julian John from Austin Collins. Shock, Wizards Lightning, Runaway Steamkin, 3 Mountains. That's the hand that Austin will be poking a hole in.
I would say that we're already approaching a crisis point for John in this game. His hand's a little bit land heavy. He doesn't have Experimental Frenzy to bail him out. And if he draws, I think, a land or another burn spell this turn, he's going to be really hard-pressed to win this game. Now, I believe he drew up Light Up the Stage. That's one of the better ones you can hit here.
It's not too bad at all. And there's Light Up the Stage. Take a look at the top couple. Chain Whirler is one. Risk Factor is the other.
It's a bummer there for John because you really, at this spot, Julian really needs to be able to leverage all the extra cards to manage that he's flooding out a little bit. So peeling off 2 3-drops there, at least one of them is going to go.
It'll be time for one of those main deck copies of Narset, Parter of Veils. Narset is a 4 of in Austin Collins' deck list. There were people talking about this card during previous season, and it started to pick up some steam. Certainly Sam Black, a fan of this one, but Narset enters with 5 loyalty. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn, so it's great in the control mirrors. And then the -2 is also pretty darn good. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It will remind you a lot of Search for Azcanta.
Sweet.
Hey, that's a card you're really into.
Love it.
Because you think it's busted, and you're probably right.
That's right, and I'm right.
Shock
You'll love to see it.
Yeah.
You'll love to see it.
Shock is going to knock Narset, down to 1. The Firebrand might be able to finish it off, or we see Julian go towards Chain Whirler. I am curious to see what card he's going to play.
Well, I guess you could, if you can get the Narset down, then you could choose Risk Factor if you wanted to. No point in casting the Risk Factor while Narset's on the battlefield because Collins can say, draw 3, and then you can't draw any.
Mm-hmm. So the Firebrand could have finished it off, and then you play the Risk Factor post-combat?
Right, and the argument for doing that is you get the Risk Factor in your graveyard that way, so it's kind of like a second card. But I think the value of having a creature on the battlefield is too high. Well, maybe not.
See, I don't like creatures in the matchup.
And also, Collins just hit a copy of Vraska's Contempt off the Narset, so maybe you're supposed to Risk Factor there.
See, my thought process is, if I'm playing against the Dimir deck, and I have the liberty of having the deck list just like you do at home via Cardboard Live, and my opponent revealed a Vraska's Contempt, my Firebrand probably just, I sack it and I try to burn you out from here.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's a hard way to do it. But yeah, I have found in this matchup, I try to get away from the creatures as much as possible, because if you get tagged by Enter the God Eternals, it's
done.
Over. The way that you can try to manage it is, I've got my 1s and 2s, they got to answer those kind of on schedule, and then later on in the game I have a bunch of burn spells and I don't present a target. Because you can't just play through it. It's just drain 4 and you have a 4/4 that's bigger than anything you have.
My thoughts basically are, Chain Whirler, what are the chances that thing's hitting for 3?
Well, if you have the other thing is, if you have the Lava Runner in your hand, then you have the hope of, well, now maybe I can chain together multiples. I don't know. It's hard to do it. No matter what, it's going to be hard. But I agree. Thinking about it more, I think I would have preferred a Risk Factor from John on that turn rather than playing the Chain Whirler. Well,
God Eternal Kefin, it's not going to make things any easier here for Julian John as well. The 4/5 Flying Zombie God has arrived here for Austin Collins. And this one can start to dominate a game if it is left unchecked. And it's very hard to remove from the game as well, given that last line of text of when it dies or is put in exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. It's a very, very good card. This is a Viashino Pyromancer. And the follow-up is a Wizard's Lightning, so Collins is going to fall down to 4. No real good attacks to be had here, I don't think. And so Julian John will just pass the turn back. Take a look there.
I would have strongly considered sending in the Lava Runner there.
Just so that's off the battlefield for Enter the God Eternals?
Yeah, because your other 2 creatures, you can manage them, Enter the God Eternals. You can sack the Firebrand to shoot the Pyromancer should it come down to it. It just feels so unlikely that the Lava Runner is part of a profitable attack down the line.
The way that we're talking about the game, you do have to contort the way that you play a little bit around Enter the God Eternals.
It's a different style of game.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to get used to this matchup because it's easy to just sort of compartmentalize it as, oh, it's Esper and they don't have a sweeper. And the game's actually quite a bit different. They can also close you out pretty fast too, which is something that Esper can't really do.
Julian John drew a copy of Gaiatu Lava Runner, and now he's weighing his options on if he should play that or maybe jumpstart Risk Factor. Looks like he's going to play this.
I mean, if Collins is on absolute nothing, this attack is lethal.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps this is some wishful thinking, though. Cast down. Will take care of the Lava Runner. Kefnet will eat the other one, and Collins is going to fall down to 1.
I think I would have preferred Collins to use the cast down on the Lava Runner, the Pyromancer there, because if John untaps and says, oh, I suppose Collins going to 1 here, I don't know. I guess it's unlikely to go that way.
Oof. Here's Liliana. All right, so Barter and Blood style. Sacrifice 2 creatures. This Kefnet will go back here. Collins gets to draw a card from Liliana, killing one of his own creatures, and now it's fade, fade, fade all day long.
Well, you got to fade a lot here because John's going to be able to jumpstart the Risk Factor out of the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. That didn't fade. The Wizard's Lightning take care of it right there. So Julian John's going to win game number 1 here over Austin Collins. Mono Red Aggro able to squeak by Dimir midrange. No Enter the God Eternals that particular game.
And John was able to, he got paid off there for not cashing in the Lava Runner for nothing. The second Lava Runner off the top there allowed him to make a very good attack and finish out the game there before Collins could stabilize.
We will take a look at the sideboards here, folks, and we're going to start with Austin Collins and his Dimir midrange deck. He's got 4 Dreadhorde Invasions, 2 Negates, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Unmoored Egos, 3 Finale of Eternity, and then 2 Duresses. What are we thinking?
The 2 copies of Duress. There's something, I don't exactly recall the text box here, but I feel like Dreadhorde Invasion has some application here against small creature decks.
Well, making 1/1s, and then if the army token has 6 or more power, lifelink.
I would consider that here too.
Yeah?
Just lower the curve, just trades off. Big creatures are good in the matchup. It's not like it's easy for John to get out from under it because once it gets to a certain toughness, that just is what it is.
Well, you think to yourself, right? You don't want to bring in a card that makes you lose life every single turn, but you might be able to actually recoup and get it back.
Yeah, although it's all this kind of assumes it's in your opening hand. It's probably just too bad off the top to bring in.
I don't know if you need all 4, but I'm trying to also draw the analog to. I believe, if memory serves, you left in Bitter Blossom against red decks back in the day. I think.
Yes, but the mono red decks now I think are much more burn decks than creature decks.
Yes,
and Bitter Blossom was a little bit more popular at a time where it was more about the creatures than the spells.
Okay.
And you also had Mistbind Click. That changed the equation too. You could
got
get out,
synergies.
you could get out from under it is the thing. Collins just would have to play through it. So maybe not, but the Duresses are easy to bring in.
Julian John with 4 Lava Coils, 3 Experimental Frenzies, 3 Legion Warboss, 2 Rekindling Phoenix, 2 Tibalt, and a Chandra. Some good options there.
I really like the Experimental Frenzies and the Chandra in this matchup. I think Legion Warboss is probably an improvement over certain things, but I don't know. my approach in this matchup is to try to be a burn deck as much as possible because Enter the God Eternals is such a lights out card if you're leaning too heavily on creatures. But I could see the cost of card quality. You had to cut these creatures that are good to leave in shocks, and it just seems like, how could this be correct? So I don't know if I have the best handle on the matchup just yet, but my intuition here is you're supposed to be much lighter on the creatures. If that's the case, then maybe you're not supposed to bring in Legion War Boss at all, and it matches up badly against Moment of Craving, Cry of Canarium, a couple other issues, but it does seem ostensibly like a card that is good against control decks, so John might want to bring it in regardless.
Well, those are options there for both players. And game number 2 will be underway here in just a moment. Austin Collins will be on the play in just a bit. But we want to talk about the Season 2 schedule here on the SCG Tour, folks, which we have solidified as commentary team. So we will be updating those fact sheets for you, let you know where we're going to be in Season 2. I can tell you we'll be in Pittsburgh, home of those horrible Steelers. I got to go to that stinking city.
We got to keep the beef to one city at a time.
Oh,
I'll be in Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh just fine.
All right.
Spent a lot of time back there in the CMU Taga days. Hook up with my testing team.
I got you.
Worcester, Philly, Columbus, Richmond, Dallas, Syracuse, Philadelphia.
You're going to skip over Syracuse like that?
I'm there. I'll see you there.
We'll see you there, folks.
I'll see you there. And then after Philadelphia, which is October 5, 6, Indianapolis, Regional Championship, Atlanta. And then we kind of shut it down at the end of October. Atlanta will be the last open. And then we are going to hit the marquee events to close out the year. SCG Con Winter, featuring the Star City Games Invitational. That'll be November 14th through 17th. And then the Players' Championship to top off the year, December 13th, 15th, Roanoke, Virginia.
We'll have more details about that SCG Con Winter and Players Championship a little bit later this year. But mark your calendars, plan your schedules, and we hope to see you at each and every single one of those events to close out 2019. But we'll turn our attention to our current event here in Richmond in Season 1, a very important tournament for both of these players, especially young Austin Collins, who won his first individual open this year.
Yes, did it with, is it Phoenix?
He sure did.
Yeah.
He sure did. Beat Galgari mid-range in the finals of that tournament. Austin Collins continues to demonstrate his expertise in Magic at a very young age with all sorts of strategies, honestly. We've seen him do well with Ironworks in Modern, Is It Phoenix in Modern, and now we're watching him put on a clinic here with the Demir mid-range in Standard, though down a game right now to Mono Red.
I think going to get a little bit tougher here post-board. Now, John having access to Experimental Frenzy.
It is difficult to have such a bad matchup against the card Experimental Frenzy. At least it appears that way. I trust your judgment, and it all makes sense, right? If you can't get it off the battlefield, that thing should just win you the game.
Yeah, so they sit on Absorb a lot in the Esper matchup, and when they have Absorb up, it creates such a powerful disincentive to be casting spells on your own main phase because getting hit by Absorb is so bad. Combine that with the fact that they have Mortify, and it's just, it does happen sometimes where they tap out for Cryocanarium and you are able to land Experimental Frenzy and then you run away with the game. I found it more often than not to be bad. The same issues do not exist against Demir. They are lighter on hard counter spells because they lose access to Absorb, and they don't have Mortified to get them out from under it if they happen to tap out for something. And this deck taps out a lot for cards like Kefnet and Enter the God Eternals.
That's a very good point. Well, for Austin, we take a look real quick here. The 16-year-old from Kansas City, Missouri. Opens played last year 18 with 3 open top 8s. All time, however, he's got 6 open top 8s. That win earlier this year. Invitational top 8s 3 in a row. Might be getting number 4 in the summer of 2019 at SCG Con in Roanoke, Virginia a little bit later. So we will have to see. And he's also starting a streaming career over on twitch.tv/acollinsmtg. Also a member of Team Nova is Austin Collins. So really starting to make a name for himself in the Magic community and certainly doing well for himself on the SCG Tour. These players will shuffle up. Julian John off to a great start here this weekend as well at 5-0. And we'll see some opening hands here in just one moment as Austin Collins taking a look at his Duress, Field of Ruin, Vraska's Contempt, Opt, Island, among other things, and he is sending that one back. do want to let you know, because it looks like I got a message here about Austin's deck list on Twitter. He actually does have 2 copies of Field of Ruin in the main deck. The Blast Zone that was initially in his deck, he actually wrote incorrectly on the deck list. He went to a judge himself and said that he had a deck list error, so that got fixed. Got a game loss for that last round, still won anyway. So if our deck list is a little out of date on Cardboard Live, we can try to fix it for you. Our apologies for that, but Austin playing the game straight up as usual, and actually went to the judge himself.
Gives it
and
clean.
Corrected the mistake.
Got the game loss. Won anyway.
Yeah, that's the best kind of game loss.
Perfect.
Right?
The 4 p.m. Modern Challenge and 4 p.m. Sealed Spectacular. The pairings for your
My bad. I goofed.
At the gathering point. Please make your way to your seats again. Players in the 4 p.m. Modern Challenge and 4 p.m. Sealed Spectacular. The pairings for your next rounds are going up.
Austin's going to look at 6 cards now. And now he'll be scrying with the Vancouver Mulligan rule. Top card, Happy Happy. Julian with those Steamkin. Steamkin good in this matchup, or just something that just kind of dies?
I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not a huge fan of almost all the creatures. So, and you just got to draw your line somewhere.
Yeah, sure. Okay, at least Steamkin has upside, right?
Yeah, if you're on the,
that's the thing.
they don't always have it, and if you're on the play, you can get some runaways with it. It's so good with Experimental Frenzy and Risk Factor too.
How's Augur Bulls? Is that
Oh no!
fun? Especially if it finds
No! Another reason to cut the creatures
Sure.
is this one.
Yeah. The old 1/3, one of Kevin Jones's favorite cards. It's back. And it picks up a Duress, too, which is a nice card in the matchup because that can snag an Experimental Frenzy.
Well, yes.
So.
Or
That's-
other things.
Yeah, that's wins all around there for Austin Collins. The old 1/3 that helped put Jerry Thompson into his first Pro Tour top 8 is Augur Bolas. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card from among them and put it into your hand like you did with the Duress. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order, as now it's a runaway Steamkin. Duress is where Collins will begin his 3rd turn. Light up the stage, Lightning Strike, Legion Warboss, and Runaway Steamkin are the cards that Julian John is working with. So Light Up the Stage and Lightning Strike are the options.
In spots like this, it's almost always, I'm playing control, gotta take Light Up the Stage here. Collins might, in fact, take Lightning Strike in this spot because it's going to be hard for John to make good attacks here in the face of Augur Bolas.
I mean, there's some truth to that. I still think Light Up the Stage is too good.
Yeah, it might be.
Right?
But it at least gets close. And most of the time, it's not close. It's like, you just take that one, of course.
John will draw. Didn't get a great look at it. I think he may have just drawn Experimental Frenzy, though. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no way to get around it.
No, you just got to make this exchange, right? Lightning Strike there, put a counter on your Runaway Steamkin. And get in here for, it looks like it's going to be 4, but this is Tyrant Scorn that will take care of the Runaway Steamkin there from Collins. We'll take a look at that one too, because that's a new one. Blue and a black, you get to choose one of these. The target creature with converted mana costs 3 or less, so Smother for us old Magic players, and then return target creature to its owner's hand.
Unsummon
Yes.
for even older Magic players.
Yes, yes.
That one's an alpha.
Here is a Thought Eraser from Julian. I remember when Smother got printed in Onslaught and everyone was like,
Oh my.
oh.
It was And it was a block with morphs too.
Well,
It was even better there contextually.
Yeah, it was a really good card too. It actually didn't disappoint. It was just really good.
It was really good.
Yeah. It was one of those times.
I love the removal spells that punish small cards, because it is a way of helping large things be good sometimes.
So take a look at what Collins just put into the graveyard. Enter the God Eternals.
Probably on the hunt for lands. then.
Yeah, from the
See.
Surveil. May already have one in hand, who knows? But I'm also taking a look at Austin's life total and it being pretty high. So
It does not feel good if you're in John's spot right now.
Yeah.
I've seen that one get milled over, and then Collins playing land number 4.
Cannot be feeling great about this game. There's Legion Warboss. Trigger, make a goblin. We'll get in here for, it looks like 3. Here's an opt. Top card becomes the bottom one. And is he just on the hunt for land 5? There's a swamp. And this is Enter the God Eternals. Okay.
John's post-board setup here makes me really nervous. He might not be able to get away from it altogether, but he just has, maybe, I got tricked by this too, initially. The deck looks a lot like Esper, and you think that you are sideboarding against Esper. And against a deck like Esper, Legion Warboss, and sort of the creatures in general are pretty good. They're much worse here, much worse. Collins' deck, you can see, you saw Kevnet in the previous game, and you're seeing Augur of Bolas and Enter the God Eternals this game. This deck is so much better at blocking that I think you need to be focused a lot more on the burn spells. You need to get away from these creatures because he's not attacking. We're done attacking for this game.
Augur of Bolas with the whiff. Welcome back to the camera, Augur of Bolas. That's the Augur I know.
Yes. Look at the top 3, put them on the bottom.
Put them right to the bottom. That's where they go. 3 lands just going straight to the bottom there for Austin Collins.
But sending 3 lands to the bottom here isn't actually that bad.
No, not at all.
Of course, you'd rather hit something, but it's not that bad to mill over 3 at this point.
Risk factor. I think Collins might be going down to 15. As Runaway's team kind of gets a counter. Oh, I like it.
Well, this is another interesting dimension of the matchup. There's a burden on Collins to get it over with. You want to be aggressive because you can be ahead and just lose to Experimental Frenzy. I had this experience playing against Samir Bedrange where I felt if this game goes on for 20 turns, I'm the favorite, not them. That's really rare. You really rarely feel that way playing a red deck against what looks like a blue-black control deck. It's turn 7 through 8 where they kind of have an edge on you, where they're just bigger and better on the battlefield. They shut out, some of your draw steps are bad, but if it goes on for too long, then Experimental Frenzy becomes an issue, and you can lose in spots like this. Even resolving Enter the God Eternals, Experimental Frenzy can overpower all of that.
Yeah, because they don't hard lock you like Teferi does.
No, they play through it. They deal 20 in combat. They're attacking you with Capnet and 4/4 tokens.
So Tyrant's Scorn took care of the Runaway Steam Cannon in response to the Fanatical Firebrand.
It's just an interesting matchup because the Dimir deck just looks like Esper in a lot of ways, but I think the games play out radically differently.
Yeah, where it's not Esper at all.
No, it's not Esper at all, and some of the cards that are really good against Esper are not good here, and vice versa.
Well, Augur Bolas will block the Fanatical Firebrand. It looks like 3 points of damage are going to come through, and now your follow-up might be light up the stage, and it is. So top couple of cards here for Julian, John, Risk Factor, and Runaway Steamkin. Let's go back over to Austin Collins. Here's an attack for 4. You can see Austin's kind of got this game figured out. If I need to just try to get this game over with.
You don't want to play a million turns against Risk Factor either.
Nope.
I mean, make it so it's John. It's John's whole turn, or the game ends with him not having played all of the Risk Factors. I really respect Collins a lot, trying to, put the foot down a little bit here. it's easy to feel like, well, I'm up all these cards and I could just hang back and have better draw steps. It's not true.
There's the risk factor there from Julian John. Collins is going to take 4 more. I think Austin's got a pretty good assessment of the matchup, which doesn't surprise you. Such a smart Magic player at such a young age. Realizes that I got to try to get this game over with as fast as possible. So he will draw a card. Attack again. And at what point does Julian John decide I have to start chump blocking?
I mean, there's still some hope that, it might be next turn depending on what your draw step is, but there's still some hope that you might be able to get in an attack here. You draw something that deals 3, or you play another Lava Runner, and suddenly your 1/1 token has some value on offense.
It's 8-8 right now. So time to jumpstart a risk factor? It is. Discarding a mountain. Collins says, I'll go to 4. Ooh, interesting. Curious to see what the block will be. As the Lava Runner and the Goblin Token are going to come across.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of this attack here from John, in part because, so now you're at 4. So now what can happen is Collins can just say, draw 3 from risk factor, you're dead.
Yep.
If you give yourself the opportunity to chump block at least once, Collins has to let you draw cards now, and you're cutting yourself up from the opportunity of being able to deploy those cards.
So the fact that you finally got to the point where risk factor is drawing you 3 cards, you actually don't get to turn those into anything.
Yeah, now
you're dead.
Now you're just dead.
Yep.
Whereas if you hang back and block, and also what's changing the math here, you get him down to 2, and now you're drawing to some 3 damage spells. I don't know. An option that's afforded to you, if you draw, even if you draw one of your 3-mana spells, you know what you get to do next turn? You go block, end of your turn, deal 3 to your 4/4, and now you have all the time in the world to do stuff with your risk factors and have other draw steps.
Yep. So, Austin Collins is going to win game number 2 here over Julian John. You can see that Julian realizes that he made a mistake there. That is for sure with that attack. And Austin Collins, he didn't miss it because he does not miss much. We're all tied up here, getting ready for game number 3.
Yeah, I think just the risk-reward assessment there does not lend itself there to an attack. You have a slightly better range of draw steps in the event that Collins has absolutely nothing, but you make it so much less likely that you're able to convert your risk factors into something meaningful.
Well, we are going to get ready for a 3rd and final one. These players are already starting to shuffle up, so I don't think much is going to change, and Julian John will be on the play, which is a pretty good spot for him to be in. But we've talked so many times already this weekend about the very important dates on the SCG Tour that we do have left. There are not many, just a couple. We're here in Richmond, we'll crown a champion. Then we're going to go to Syracuse. Well, they're going to go to Syracuse.
Yo, I got to ease off of it now, man. Yeah. I'm going to go.
I'm going to
be there.
But you haven't gone yet.
I haven't gone yet.
You haven't gone yet. All the possibilities in Syracuse. Then we'll go to Louisville for maybe a nice trip to game.
Or where Louisville's got no
shortage of good food.
Good food, good bars, just a cool place to kick it.
I'll take you for a hot brown. You ever had a hot brown before?
Not to my knowledge.
That's a real thing, by the way.
Yeah, I would. I love Louisville. Be happy to be doing that one. And then SCG Con.
That's right. We'll be there along with a whole host of others. Hopefully you will be too. All the details available over at StarCityGames.com for SCG Summer featuring the Star City Games Invitational. And at these events, of course, there are play minutes that you can get. We've got our good friend Botanical Growth from Victor Adame Minguez for all of our standard Open and Classic players. For our modern ones, it is Star Crowned Angel by Greg Staples. And, of course, for our Legacy Open and Classic players, it is Loftstone Citadel by Adam Paquette. Free and exclusive playmats with entry into not only Opens and Classics, but Infinite Challenge and sealed spectacular packages as well. Go to StarCityGames.com/schedule for not only the Season 1 schedule, but for Season 2 of the SCG Tour in 2019 as well. Game number 3 about to be underway here. We're going to close out round number 6. Jerry T and Brian G, the hosts of the Game Podcast, they will be back for rounds number 7 and 8 before we close it out with round number 9. So a lot of Magic left to bring you here today. Day number 2, we'll type up all the day 2 deck lists. Those will be available after round number 15. We, of course, will have a metagame breakdown done by none other than Nick Miller. We got plenty of deck techs to bring you, and we got to crown a champion here at the Richmond Convention Center as well before we get out of here. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a little more sleep tonight. I don't think
plenty of sleep.
Speak for yourself, man.
It's totally recalibrated once you have children. The notion of what constitutes a lot of sleep is very different.
I slept for 4 hours.
That is uninterrupted?
Yes.
That is a lot of sleep.
Yeah, okay, man.
Uninterrupted? Okay. Just a solid 4.
Yeah. It's a lot for you. That's not a lot for me.
That is a lot of sleep. Anyhow.
Julian John with his electric Super Saiyan hair in that photo, 21 years old. Hometown of Orlando, Florida. 2018, he played a lot of Opens, 19, top 8 of 5 of them, with 1 win back in Dallas as a team open with Jonathan Rossum and Kevin King. And I did cover. Open top 8s, 5 all-time. All of them came last year with that open win last year as well. And he has a black belt in Taekwondo. Hiya!
Come on, man.
Kick you in the face.
I have been kicked in the face by someone, an ex-colleague of mine with a martial arts background. It's
really?
Not great. Yeah.
Do I know this person? Is there a story?
Drew Walker.
Don't know him.
Worked on Wild TCG and a couple other games.
Why?
I don't know. It was a holiday party, and
party's a great way to start this story.
Holiday party, drinks were had. I maybe made one too many comments about him training in karate, and he split my lip open with a cross kick.
Karate is nice.
Yeah. I did the sort of Matrix, like get into position and then motion for him to come towards me.
Oh, nice. You did the Keanu?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you're a real badass over there.
He caught me flush.
Yeah. Good for you.
Didn't graze me.
Yeah.
It was a clean. It was a clean. So
I'd say you earned that one.
Oh, definitely.
You earned that.
I was not mad about it. I was like, yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Good. I'm all done making fun of you now. Yeah.
That's right.
It's always good to see someone get some comeuppance.
Yeah, no.
Right in the grill.
Yeah.
That's good. That is good.
I think the world would be, obviously there's all sorts of problems with just like physical violence in general as a concept, as a way of like leveraging power dynamics, all of it. But I do think the world would be better if people behaved like the threat of violence was possible at any time. Just imagine that it could happen.
Yes.
If you behaved a certain way. But not that it should happen.
But
that
it could
happen.
It could happen.
It would be a better world. It would absolutely be a better world. Because you know what? I make fun of people less than I used to, particularly those with backgrounds in martial arts.
Smart. That's smart. Also, nowadays, you don't know who's trained for the UFC.
No.
Someone could just be someone you don't think.
Yeah.
Could just armbar. Good night.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, someone who's a trained fighter. Have you watched The Americans?
Mm-mm.
We'll talk about that more. But, they part of the show clearly communicates. It's not about being in the gym 20 hours to be able.
Not even a little.
You got to know.
You got to know the technique. The big buff dude at your gym, probably not even that tough.
No, that's not true. I boxed with my. No. Some of them are.
Some of them are.
Mine is.
Okay. Yeah. Some of them might just be some show muscles.
Yeah. Not my guy.
Good to know. Chain Whirler in here now as well. So Austin Collins is taking a beating right now, folks. Now there is a cast down. Take care of the Chain Whirler. Austin will play a Swamp. What do we have here? This is a Cry of the Carnarium. He is catching back up. Now, if you're Austin, you were hoping that no Experimental Frenzy shows up.
Yep, that's the land for an Experimental Frenzy, and you're in real trouble. And anything else, not that big of a deal, most likely.
Legion Warboss will make a Goblin and attack. What do we have here? It is a God Eternal Kefnet.
The Dimir deck, you're seeing the curve here. It's so hostile to creatures.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that good against spells. Weirdly enough, it's not that good against spells. It's really good against creatures, though.
They don't have that much counter magic. I mean, you can take a look at the deck list. They've got cast downs and Tyrant Scorns and Vraskas. One negate in the main deck, sure. But, Liliana Dreadhorde General.
It's a tap-out deck.
Yes, it very much is. Now, it's a powerful tap-out deck, no question, but it is a tap-out deck. And Kefnet is the kind of card that closes the game out quickly, and it can do some ridiculous stuff if the top of the deck does cooperate.
Your round 1 pairings are being posted. Please find your seats.
Julian is trying to figure out what he wants to do here on the 5th turn of his game. Pretty crucial point.
Well, the door's gonna shut real fast on combat here if John cannot get Kefnet off the battlefield.
There is a runaway steam can. Mountain.
Your 4th and final round pairings are being posted at the gathering point.
Legion Warboss will, of course, make a token.
Way to your seats again. Premium Legacy Challenge players. Your 4th and final round pairings.
And here come the attacks. Now, naturally, Kefnet will block one of these tokens. The damage will come across. Well, we're going to head back Austin Collins' way. He will take a look at the top card with Kefnet. If he is taking a moment to read Kefnet, this could be bad news for Julian John.
Yeah, it's really good with this card.
Yeah.
This came up for me the other day.
Now, how'd that go for you?
All right, so this is the combo. It costs less, which is nice for Collins here because he doesn't have 5 mana just yet.
Yeah.
And it causes John's deck to burst into flames. So, you know, that's the combo here.
Super cool card.
Super cool card. Well, you know what? I'll say I actually enjoy playing against this card a little bit in that it's so overwhelming if you're playing a deck like, you know, mono red aggro, that you have to take really an unorthodox line and sideboarding plan to beat it.
Yeah.
You can't just put your deck on the table, play a game, and then have that happen. You've got to try something different, which is why, like, my sideboarding plan is basically convert into a total burn deck and cut almost all the creatures.
So there are no targets.
Yeah.
You have to change the way you play to beat that
And
card.
I think, you know, John here, I know I've been talking about this a lot. It's really not John's fault. The matchup is very non-intuitive. But I was already nervous when I saw him play Legion Warboss. To me, that suggests not a full appreciation of how the matchup plays out and what the problematic cards are. Because the Dimir deck's so good at blocking, so good at killing creatures.
To me, that also suggests more creatures, not less.
Right, yes.
That's the other thing.
Right, yeah, he probably has Chain Whirlers in his deck. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he thinks
We've seen Chain Whirler, some number.
in the post board.
Oh, yeah, we saw one earlier in this game.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Where it's like, no, I want the 1-drops and maybe Pyromancer, and that's it.
Yep. How about another one? See, because this is the one that you revealed.
Right, yeah. See, he has the other one.
Yeah, but it's the same one.
Super cool.
Yeah, so it's the same one. So you know, we're all set then.
Yeah, we're done.
We're all set.
And this is the way that Dimir midrange can beat Experimental Frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
They can turn the game around and start attacking you pretty easily.
Because Kefnet's on cleanup duty now, along with this 4/4 mass. And, you know, I think this is hopefully something that Julian learns from with regards to how to attack this particular deck, but it's also release weekend,
It just
right?
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that the games would look so different than the games against Esper, but they do.
Yep.
Once again, players in the open.
You got to convert to burn. This is a key card for that strategy,
Yes.
risk factor,
Yep.
that Collins will have some difficulty, you know, dealing with.
For
But-
example, in the sideboarded games, I would not cut Shock, and I would bet that John has cut his Shocks. Because Shock, you know, I mean, on the
It
surface,
doesn't even kill Augur Bola.
Shock sucks.
Yeah.
There's no targets, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's just a different sort of game.
Austin going to tap some mana here. That is a Narset. That'll get a little bit deeper into the deck, of course, with its search for Escanta-esque activation, revealing a Tyrant's Scorn. Those cards will go to the bottom of the deck. Yep, I like it. Keep the pressure up. I mean, these are 4 power creatures we're talking about.
Err on the side of attacking if
Yeah.
you're playing Dimir in this matchup, because it's the easiest way to cut Experimental Frenzy out of the game.
Yeah, just get the game over with.
Yep.
Sometimes you just got to kill your opponent, yo. Looks like Watery Grave enters the battlefield and tap there for Austin Collins to be able to cast Tyrant Scorn or other blue spells. And this may be Julian John's last turn of this particular match. He'll just pass the turn back. Collins with that Tyrant Scorn, and that is going to do it. Austin Collins going to win this game match here over Julian John, 2-1. Demir mid-range and the power of Enter the God Eternals. Much too much for Julian John to be able to work through, and Mono Red Aggro picks up its